hoes got brains to match the quote. The mother of the Hoodwives, a fist in the fold. Talking love.
You said cuddle? Oh yes, no, yes. I'm trying to. Oh, I mean, I'm down.
Forget the doubt. Love the women in here 'cause they gave us clout. Freedom over power. So tell me what your thought juice is, 'cause I bring the bottles and the truth is I'ma lay it out for all the fools here. I make it clear, 100 proof pit. Ayy, Princess E money, time to cash out. Go commando for the shortest, hard clips out. Do a little dance, shake a little.
I just did shrooms with Max on the lab. It was crazy. What is up, everybody? It's your girl / boy, Iman Loren like Polo, Black Honey Buns, bitch. And you have tuned in for another episode of The Real Hoodwives of Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories. Oh my goodness. I am so excited. Oh my god. First of all, Imani know people. You know what I'm saying? We got a fucking celebrity in the fucking house. We got a fucking sensation. Like, you can ask their autograph. Like, you be everywhere. Oh,
I'm around. I'm here.
You very much are, and I'm grateful for that. Please give your love and all of your affection to the one, the only, Daniel Kyri. Woo! I need air horns.
Air horns will never be played out. I don't care what anybody says.
That shit is hot. How are you? Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I would literally, this is what I would like to be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On my Thursday.
Yes.
This is so sick. I love it. I love the setup. I love the vibe. I love the energy. I love the
thought juice. Yeah, I mean, hey. I mean, before I even forget, this is a segment called "What's Your Thought Juice?" Dun-dun-dun. And what's your thought juice?
So up in here, I had said when you asked me, I was like, let's holler at the tequila soda,
right?
Because whenever I go out, that's my go-to thing.
Right.
I love tequila. I'm a tequila drinker.
So we got tequila.
Point blank. Period. But you hooked it up with the sodas. They're live.
You have a classy drink.
Because normally though, I'll get a little lime. I'll do a double pour of the tequila, and then I'll have literally just usually a seltzer water, Topo Chico, something like that. But you came through with this.
Yes, I can. I have everything for you. When you was like, if you don't have none, I could pick some up. I was like, no. It is protocol that I provide the thought juice, right? If I want to ask you all your freaky business, I could at least provide the elixirs, right?
Okay. Hey, look, that bottom up.
Yes. Well, can you introduce yourself, your name, pronouns, who you are, what you do, all that?
Sure. For those of you at home listening / watching, my name is Daniel Kyri.
Mm-hmm.
My pronouns are he, him.
Okay.
I am an actor and artist, and I think all of us pretty much in the artist game and also, other arenas of work are embracing that multi-hyphenate.
Yes. Yes.
So I am a producer, a director, a writer. Sometimes I sing a note or two if you ask me nicely.
A nice little tune.
Yes. But, most of my trade is in the storytelling business point.
That's high. We've known each other for a long time.
6, 7?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because I've been in this scene for maybe 12 years or so. But when it comes to acting and poetry, over I would say 10 solid years. So we've definitely known each other for years and
just kind of been served the whole time too.
Yes. I'm so grateful for you being here. Even though you're so talented and so successfully talented, and I want to validate that, but I also want to validate how you are still around. You're still here. You're still we can touch you, we can see you, and that really means a lot, right?
Oh my God.
Yes.
There's so much light pouring through you right now. I cannot even begin to tell you how much I've needed energy like this.
Oh my goodness.
The gratitude is all mine. Dead.
Oh my, no, we share the love. I don't care for you. No, we was going through technical difficulties, right? Daniel let me use his hotspot. So I was like, oh, that's some hood husband activity. One second, let me get this flat so that could cause
Hood hubby activity.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself a hood wife, a hood husband, a hood husband?
I feel like a hood partner.
A hood partner.
A
hood partner.
In between. You feel me?
A hood partner.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can look.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wait. 1 second. Can you? Okay, I had to turn your mic game up. I wanted everybody to hear you.
Beautiful.
So you're an actor.
Yeah.
You do theater. Mm-hmm. You also are a star on Chicago Fire.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. So how is acting? Oh, it's the Wi-Fi. It's the my phone. Okay. How is acting like amidst the pandemic?
Acting in the middle of a plague. It's
in the middle of a plague, in the middle of a panorama.
Look, okay, in the middle. It's been I'm not even gonna lie, it's been challenging, yo. It's been really challenging. I mean, because on one hand, I am doing what I love in a time where, you know, a lot of folks can't even do the stuff that they don't love in order to live comfortably. And so I'm in a sort of position, right, where I feel like I have to be really sort of grateful. Yes. You know? Yes. And I am, and it's hard. Yeah. You know? So it's both things. I'm immunocompromised. So, you know, when we started going to work last season and there was no vaccine, it ended up it tested me mentally in ways that I feel like I'm still uncovering. Yeah. And also in those moments where you're vibing and your scene partner is vibing and you're really dialed into the story that you're telling, and those moments are magic. And I usually leave set and go home with so much gratitude over that experience and a lot of joy. But then, you know, you go to sleep and then you wake up the next day and then it's like the world is coming down on you. You know what I mean? Like the sky is falling. Yeah. We're all Chicken Little in the scenario. And I have to go back to work and kind of essentially play pretend. Yeah. And I mean that in the sense of like playing, like pretending like everything's okay and pretending like, you know, people aren't the potential for people getting sick around me isn't a factor. And even though, you know, my set is one of the safest places that you can be when it comes to a gathering of like large numbers. There's still that thing in the back of my mind that was going, you know, I've got asthma. I've got a respiratory condition in the middle of a respiratory pandemic. I was gonna ask, like, with acting. Oh my goodness, my phone. With acting, like, is there, like, especially if let's just say it's a plague, is there precautions and responsibilities that you have to take for other people? Absolutely. So for me, I've never minded this because I feel like genuinely taking care of ourselves is a way to take care of other people. That's what I'm trying to learn right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's like if the airplane is ever going down, I'm thrilled to be here, thrilled to be doing this with you, right? Yes, please pardon me. I'm listening to you. That's okay. I could talk all day. You do your thing. Okay, I have the easy job. Yeah, tell me all of your business. Don't even trip. Tell me all of your business. But yeah, the precautions are both on the part of, you know, the company who is bringing us to work in this time, and they take it very seriously, and I'm grateful for that. And then there is the individual responsibility. And so for me, like even with this, I was like, hey, do you mind getting a test? Yes. And I tested negative. You know, and so now I know that we've done our part PCR is that like more I want to. It's just not the rapid. Like the rapid is like the quick one that you can find out in 15 minutes, and it's like I don't know the difference between. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I went to
one is just more diagnostic.
Okay, so they do have it on hand, and everything is going great for you. What inspired you to act? Where did that come from? I was doing research on you. Like I don't know you, but I was doing research on you because I was accurate. But you've been acting and doing this thing for a while, like for a very long time, and you're from the South Side, gang. Yes. But your mom heavily got you involved in the arts early to keep you busy. Yeah. What have you always been interested? Like, what were some of the things you've always interested in?
So, the way that I kind of have grown to understand my origin in storytelling is first I had to discover the written word. Mm-hmm.
Like writing?
Yeah, writing and more specifically reading.
Yes.
You know, I grew up in the hood. I grew up where I grew up, and I saw things and experienced things. And you grow up quick sometimes in certain situations, you know. Not to say that, you know, every experience is you know, it's not a monolith, right? But my experience,
that's what I always say.
For sure.
The Black people experience is not just one experience.
Because I know people, you know, who grew up in my neighborhood who never experienced some of the shit that I did, and like, you know, more power to them, and like that is what it is. But you know, I experienced some things and whatever. But also, as a queer human, as a queer person being, you know, in this current vessel, there is an othering that can happen, you know, where you grow up or where before you begin to understand yourself. And you know, the first when I first got curious about who I was, or even what other people were seeing me embody or putting on my body rather, I discovered Langston Hughes. Okay. You know, which is interesting.
I feel like you're a poet by nature, honestly.
Somewhere in here, maybe. I feel
like you're a poet by nature.
Somewhere in here, maybe.
I would love to read some of like your writings.
Oh
like when I was little, I was obsessed with like, I wanted to be in The Wiz so fucking bad. Like A Different World was really my shit.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah, A Different World, Cosby Show.
Okay. I wasn't a Cosby kid.
This is a hot take. Sometimes when I'm missing home,
you play the Cosby.
Okay, I might throw that John on Amazon Prime.
I mean, I would never throw away A Different World.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna have to fight me to take that from me.
I'm just saying.
I would never.
So Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, even some Rudyard Kipling, which I know. Okay. But you know,
I'm not familiar with them.
Huh?
I'm not familiar with Rudyard
Kipling. There was this poem called If.
Okay.
That I kind of vaguely remember. Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
But the more that I discovered the written word in that way, the more I was able to begin to find language to describe myself to me.
Okay.
You know, without everybody else's reflection, but like actually being like, well, who am I? This is who I am. Mm-hmm. And while I was in that process, my uncle, he's a Renaissance man in the theater. His name is Ruben Eccles. He like does like wigging now. He does costuming at Goodman Theater. Mm-hmm. He is an associate artistic director at Black Ensemble Theater. He writes.
He's everywhere.
He choreographs. He acts. He sings. And he went to my mom when I was young. He was like, I need your kids to be in this play called Once on This Island. And me and my older sister, we went. My mom said yes, and she asked if we wanted to do it. And we were like, yeah, that sounds cool. It sounds like a fun way to, you know, spend the evenings. We started going to rehearsals and whatever. And this is the moment. I remember being backstage and watching Jesse Dean Martin and a few
I like how
actors.
you say all these names.
Yeah,
that's so hot. I love when people just like say like names like it was November 9th. 1875, and James Dean.
It's like, you know, those moments, you don't realize it in the moment that it's life altering, but it imprints.
Yes.
And I was backstage and they were like, I remember titties were popping out, all kind of shit, quick changes were going on. Like this was,
and you young.
This was guerrilla theater. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is wild.
You're young as hell.
This was wild. And Jesse, he was like goofing around backstage, and then the beginnings of the song that he sings starts coming. He's Agua, let there be no, and then and he pops out and he just kind of does something with his shoulders. His shoulders go back, and all the joking and all the goofing around like was gone, and he was this god that walked on stage. So I watched this person transform.
That's powerful.
I watched him transform.
That's powerful.
And I remember thinking, I want to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
I want to figure out how that works.
Yes. I feel that I definitely had an epiphany moment when I started doing poetry. Like I've been writing poetry since I was young, like very, very young. But I do specifically remember like that moment where it's like, oh, you can do this. Like this is a career. Yeah. So you've had many roles throughout your life from young, very young. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role on Chicago Fire?
Yeah. I play a firefighter on TV.
That's high. That's high. That's sexy. Has someone ever tried to pay you and be like, hey, can you put your costume on for me? And like come to my door? Put my fire out?
Not yet.
Ring my bell?
Ring my bell. Slide down that firefighter pole. Anyway, so I mean, there's been people in the DMs. I mostly ignore them because folks get weird. I think
real fanny.
Yeah, and then too, you're in their living room so much, that I feel like there's a little bit of ownership, but like a little bit of like,
oh, that's real. I never thought about it like that.
Dead ass. People feel like they can ask you anything or talk to you about anything, and you're like, you don't actually know me though.
Right. You know my character.
But my character, his name is Darren Ritter. He is an openly gay firefighter in the Chicago Fire / Dick Wolf universe. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a really caring, really kind person, but don't test him. Yeah. We're gonna find out this season. Don't push Ritter.
Okay, do we get a spoiler?
Not a spoiler necessarily, but all I'm saying is we get a little taste that he can be about that life, which is great for me because I'm from the South Side.
Hey.
And a lot of people don't recognize that he can be about that life when necessary.
Hey, you heard it here first. Exclusive. I was so inspired by your role, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. Okay. So your character is a gay man, right?
Yeah.
And I know this from that you said that it was very important and you feel proud to represent for the Black gay community, right? Do you think when do you think that transition happened in America? Because we have shows like Pose and Legendary is now on HBO. Like this is something that's I would feel like it's kind of new. Would you agree with that?
It feels like there is a shift.
Right.
The needle is moving.
Right. Okay. I like that.
And for however much the needle moves, I always think and feel, and I think we all know that we could be doing more.
Right.
Because there are still those stories that we see on television or in film that relegates. Characters who exist at certain intersections to the margin of the story. And my whole thing, this has been a journey for me as well, because there's a lot of messaging that you hear, and then that becomes super loud in your ears as you step into a more public arena like I have. And at first, I was so scared.
You were scared to play this role?
I'm not even going to trip because, when I first got it, I didn't know he was gay.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Because it's broadcast television, so they're writing as the season is going on.
Right. That's why I was kind of...
No, yeah, I didn't know until my second season on the show.
Did you have a part in character development?
I think the writers just kind of got to know me.
That's hard.
I remember my first sort of holiday party with producers and all that kind of stuff, and it was very Hollywood. I I was very like, oh my God, you know. But I brought my partner at the time, his name is Peter. I brought him and no one knew that I was queer. No one knew because I was not allowing that part of myself to be seen. I wasn't allowing myself to be vulnerable in that way quite yet because, you know, for me, it's like, I'm around new people. I kind of know how Hollywood can be, all these sort of things.
All you need to know is I got hoes.
Like, you just got to know that, you know what I mean? And that I got hoes. And also that, you know, I'm a fucking good actor and that's all you need to be concerned about.
I feel that.
You know?
I feel that. I think, because like when we're very familiar with like heterosexual people playing, you know, queer and trans roles, right? Like, I mean, I can't like, I mean, for the one example I think of is like Matt Damon and like in the fucking Behind the Candelabra movie or whatever. But would you ever like play a heterosexual role?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'm you know, I love the thought processes that we are engaging with, and I believe a lot in representation. That's at the core of my artistic voice.
Right.
I also believe that acting is one of those professions where we can explore and be different and whatever else. I also believe that when that representation skews a certain way, we have to disrupt it.
Okay, yes.
Right? So in terms of what you're saying, you know, cishet men, specifically, more often than not, white cishet men portraying these roles can be problematic or harmful when there are actual queer-bodied
who can actually do these
who can do the same job.
And I think it's like...
But like, yeah, I can butch up and fucking play a fucking a straight dude. Like I can do that. I know that I'm capable of it. I have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I want that. I want that opportunity. I don't want to just do this
be a gay
thing.
role. And you know, queerness is of course a spectrum, as we know, right? And I think that like there's some type of
it's hard to quantify as well.
Right.
I feel like
it sounds like it's a reclamation, right? Right? Like you're reclaiming like all the people who were like X'd out from these roles.
Yeah.
And like you're reclaiming that for yourself, like, you know, to re-announce yourself in these spaces that have been so heteronormative, so misogyny and chauvinistic forward that you're like showing like the fluidity that is possible of you. What are like your heart knows in being in the industry, right? Like I'm curious because I do enjoy acting. I do act myself, but here's what I feel like. I feel like there's a point where you can like call the shots for like what you want to do, right? Like I think that like as a starting actor, if Tyler Perry hit me up for a role, I would take the role. Do I particularly fuck with Tyler Perry? No, not at all. But I wonder like, you know, when is the moment where it's like, yeah, you want to take opportunities because you're starting off and like where you also like go back and think to yourself, like, is this a role I should really be doing? Or if you're even in a position to ask yourself that.
I think especially when you're first starting out and just depending on where you're at in your strategy for your career, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
That's just it. I mean, and as forward thinking and progressive and radical as we are being and encouraging each other to be, there is also a part of us that needs to recognize the systems that we are living within, that we are operating within, right?
Right.
And certain opportunities only come across so often. And so sometimes we have to
and capitalism really skewed our idea of what an opportunity is.
That's largely what I'm talking about too, right? Because I was reading this passage in this book recently where it was like, it just said like, capitalism, like we have to hate it, but also it's the only way to make money, and money is kind of the only way to live. So it's like, where do you draw the line of like, I hate capitalism and I want to push the envelope and I want to change things, but I still need to live in the meantime. And it really comes down to that, right? You need to live and survive in the meantime. Yeah. And your life is important, right? Your livelihood is important. And so for me...
Also, you're so fucking young. Like, you're so fucking young. And like, the fact that we work our asses off in our early fucking 20s, like all the way to our fucking 30s, and still feel
and
like
40s,
40s, and
sometimes 50s,
and still feel like 60s. We're not doing enough,
you know, and still, and you can be chasing, and you know, that rat race your whole life, and not feel like you're doing enough. But where the no's come in for me, I don't know quite yet if I have any absolutes, because I'm still exploring. But the more that I mature in this career, just as I'm maturing more as a person, I will say that there are certain things that have come up where I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a no for me until this came up. And I'm still learning how to stand up for myself. I'm still learning how to take up space. I'm still learning how to not apologize for just being here, being queer, and doing my fucking thing
over things you can't fucking help. Yeah. I'm working on that shit too. That shit is hard as hell. It's like difficult. Taking up space. I see your little Gucci.
Oh, this
I see your Gucci. I mean,
found her at an outlet. A little discount moment.
I mean, fuck Wendy Williams, but like, can we have a bag cam? Like, is a bag cam possible?
It just sounds good for the outfit, because everything else is very affordable.
Would you do a Tyler Perry role?
For the right script, absolutely. I think I don't
even think it's about like Tyler Perry per se.
No, you know I think it's about a lot of differing public opinion.
Right.
I think the man he's a genius, and speaking of someone who lives and thrives in the system, he happens to have really he's made the system work for him.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that I think, as we begin to question and examine and start to move forward and be more expansive for other ways of life, that butts up against some of our sensibilities. And I think that colors our opinion when it comes to like Tyler Perry Studios, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But regardless, at the end of the day, for me in this industry, knowing how hard and difficult it is, he's providing opportunity.
Yeah. For a lot of Black people. For a lot of black people. Like, that's something that's undeniable. Also, like, he plays a big part in the Black community. Absolutely. And like what makes like our home feels like a home. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like
I would love to collaborate with him as well.
There we go.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like what my lived experience could bring to his lived experience, there is a magic that could happen in the middle of that I feel like could be like, because you're totally right. He plays a big part in Black culture today.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big voice, and it's like, so imagine if you or I or both of us popped on over there into the Tyler Perry land. We're like, cool, cute. And we work and we do our thing, and we're like, hey, what's up, bro?
And actually talk to him
about this.
No, that's like finessing at its finest, right? Like, you got to get in the door to break it down, right? And like, to be clear, you know, it's not just about Tyler Perry. I think that what I'm interested in, and please, like, interested to know from you, right, is like, there's this idea of tropes in the industry, right? And Tyler Perry like has like really facilitated a lot of that. I think also in what I was talking to Max on like the last podcast, like the jokes that just aren't funny anymore, and like how like a lot of like social media comedians, they make fun of Black women, like they play them, like, you know, put on a bad wig or put on some like, you know, fake lashes or whatever, and really play up this whole like Black women trope, right? Do you think that there's like these tropes that still exist in the industry that we are seeing on film, on TV, and movies, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so many, you know, and I think it's born out of this thing. There's nothing new under the sun. And so a lot of content can be a bit like incestuous, by which I mean this idea breeds this idea, begets this idea, and then this idea comes forth that borrows from this idea. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, we are perpetuating a sort of myopic viewpoint of what is, because of one experience.
And it becomes unbeknownst. You don't even recognize that you're in it. You don't even recognize that you're in it.
Because now there is like the woke Black college student trope. You know what I mean? Like that. I I feel like pops up because of Dear White People.
Come on
and
now.
then all of a sudden, but like
I'm in love with this conversation.
You know what I'm saying? But even then, you take that over to certain like broadcast shows or network shows, and that person is present, which is more than we had maybe like 10, 15 years ago.
And then like you're told to like be grateful for this representation.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a very ever shifting, ever complicating, I think, conversation. But the most important thing is it's just like I feel like what a lot of folks are harping on is that like, hey, like there are other experiences. There are just other unique experiences, and your work would probably improve from including experiences that aren't typical, that aren't sort of stock. Yeah,
I definitely feel like what it to add to you, what it stems in is like making Black folks palatable, right? I think that it's interesting because I was having a conversation with someone about Sha'Carri Richardson, right? Like how the media pushed her forward, right? Because they were so ready for like, you know, a real Black girl, right? Like looking at how, from a poetry perspective, look at how like everyone ate up Amanda Gorman. And I wonder like why that was like, you know, why it felt so good to all of America, because it was palatable. You know what I'm saying? It was palatable, but like when you have someone that has like, you know, human attached to them and they don't win for you, it makes you like look at them different or stray away from them or not support them in the same way that you like uplifted them. To this like to the note of this palatableness and like these tropes that you were bringing up, I think that there are a lot of things that stem from anthropomorphism, right? Like how like Black people were depicted as animals, like Princess and the Frog, or like in Soul, or like a lot of like old Disney movies. What are your takes on that, right?
It's tired.
Yeah.
My take is it's fucking tired. Put it to bed, tuck it in, close the door, turn off the lights, and forget about it. It's fucking tired. That's what my thought is. I'm tired of that shit. I hate it. I really do. Let Black people be fucking Black on screen, in stories, on camera, whatever that means to their specific experience, not what you think it should mean or represent or what's palatable, right? Or any of that, because I mean that really and it's so fake. It's so fake woke. It's woke Olympics. It's like
right.
You know, but this is a story about Black people and it's in New Orleans and all that shit. And I'm like,
but it's not though. Like honestly, not, like if you're living half of the movie as an animal, I feel like that's like how like it's degrading. Yeah, that's how they're introducing like Black people to like we're gonna show you a Black man, but
not all the way.
You're not completely ready. You know what I'm saying? I think like
and I loved Soul, and that's what hurt.
I did too.
I fucked with that movie so hard. I fucked with Soul, and I fucked with Princess and the Frog, and I was still upset.
I did too.
I was still upset. I was like, she didn't have to be a frog for 90% of the fucking movie.
It's like it's racist. I mean, because like when you look at old Disney movies. Like when you have, come on. When you have like the old Disney little dog happening, it's a lot. But I find similarities to what you were saying about like, you know, yes, please. About like the woke college student or like, you know, like it feels like.
It's crazy how there are new tropes, isn't it?
Right. It's like, new oppressive tropes. Like we're not just seeing like niggas like fucking getting shot no more. Right now, what we're saying is like you said, the woke college student. Yeah. That's like it's always some type of struggle. I'm really inspired by Christiana's plays and like how she plays. She's on that line. She's so brilliant. She's on that line of like, hey, this is an uprising that happened, but I'm not talking about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, you know, the revolution that happened to it. And she combines it with like Afrofuturism. Yeah. Like she is fucking awesome, right? I have opinions though that I want to talk to you about, right? Yeah. I feel like it's something that's happening with some interracial bullshit that is happening in television, right? Mixed Dish is a problematic ass show to me. I don't know why this shit exists in the first fucking place, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing all these like fucking every commercial that you see with a black man, it's a white woman or it's an Asian woman, right? Like there is never no just black couple, right? It's all this interracial thing. Do you think that there's definitely a push that's happening for interracial relationships and like that's something like that's a new tool of making black folks palatable?
I think to your point, if I'm being, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Please do. You on the Real Hoodwives Chicago.
Period.
This thought juice is so good.
That thought juice kicking in, y'all. Y'all might see some twerk if in my
I'll pay you. You should always pay your twerkers. Always pay.
Tip the twerk.
Tip the twerk. Tip the twerk. That was hot.
I think in speaking with what you're talking about with palatability and it is the same thing as respectability politics. They go hand in hand.
Right.
What I want to talk about specifically,
okay,
if I may, is I don't necessarily mind an interracial couple.
Right.
What I mind is this sort of industry standard or the idea that when you think or talk about interracial couple, one person has to be white.
Yes. Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's valid.
That's what I want to, because to me,
that's valid.
I'm not so bothered by Black and Asian, Black and Latina, Black and,
right.
I'm not. When the majority of what is represented as an interracial couple involves a white-bodied individual,
that is a very
that
valid
is where
point.
I take issue, because an interracial couple does not need to include a white person at all.
Absolutely.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
So
that's a hella valid point.
Right. So
that's a hella valid point.
Right. So for me, I'm like,
yes.
I'm going, I hear you, I feel you, and I agree. My own particular issue is that because legitimately I feel like, and the interracial couple, how it's packaged, is sort of thought of as more palatable. It's easier.
Yes.
Than having to represent authentic Black love, because most of the people that might end up in a writer's room or behind the scenes or whatever it is, like majority of them are going to be white-bodied or white experienced individuals.
But it's also like, do you really think that all these Black people share that much space with white folks? You know what I'm saying? Like they share space constantly on purpose. On purpose.
That's not the tea.
That's facts, though. I love that point. I've never thought about it like that. I think because like how I feel when it comes to interracial relationships, and like I'm not gonna say I don't have no beef. I have my limits, right? When it comes to like a Black woman and a white man, I understand it. I understand the history that Black men and on Black women, right? And so, but when I see like a Black man with a white woman, I feel away.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
It's historied.
It's giving Mandingo. It's giving. I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything.
I'm off to keep.
If anybody from my job is watching,
please watch. Anybody from the show, please watch.
I didn't say nothing. I'm just
support your co-star.
Okay.
I want to know, like, what's the relationship between you and your co-star? Y'all call each other mom and dad.
Oh,
I've never seen Chicago PD because I don't have TV. But I thought that like y'all were like a couple in the show, which is what it like inspired my outline.
So you're talking about my boo Annie.
Yes.
I
love how
Annie left the show
you
a while ago. She's doing her thing. She's wilding out. She's blah. Annie and I joined Chicago Fire at the same time.
Okay.
And I remember being super intimidated. She's gorgeous. She is gorgeous beautiful woman, and she's so talented. And I remember being like, "Oh man, I'm so nervous." Like like whatever around her. And then we had dinner one night, and we got super fucking drunk.
That's hot.
And then we like went out. We hit some clubs. We danced on like fucking bar tops.
That's hot.
It was like a whole thing.
That's hot.
but then our relationship deepened. I remember the first time that I went out to LA because I was a guest star in my first season, and there was a lot of uncertainty with my position on the show and all of that. And I remember I went out to LA looking for a manager, looking for representation out there, and literally we hung out while we were there, and then she came back to shoot, and I wasn't working on the show at that time, like for like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and she said, "Just stay at my house." She said, "Just stay at my house." I was like, "Are you what? What do you mean? No, I'll get like an Airbnb." She's like, "No, stay. Like, no, you're not doing that.
Actively wants you there. That's
Give me
hot.
the key, all of that." And
oh, you got a key.
I got a key.
You got a key. Oh. Also, shout out Bonita. Oh, we love you, boo.
Yes. What? Are you kidding? What's that? But Annie Alonza, she's just a real one, and she has given me advice. She hooked me up with my agent, the best agent in the not agent, my manager, the best manager in the world, Davita Smith, a Black woman who holds it down, who understands what I'm trying to do.
That's who I was finna send your interview outline to.
You know, period. Be like, and she was sure enough be like, "You want to do this?" And I'd be like, "Yes, I do."
That's hot. I really
she's the
want
best manager in the world, and that was because of the link that I had with Annie and my work and our relationship too. But like Annie was a foundation in that, and
I be loving y'all TikToks.
Look,
y'all little dance videos. Y'all be doing. Oh my, y'all are so fucking cute.
We have a connection, and she's always been the real one that's like, "No, you're worthy. You deserve it. Take up space. Ask for what you want, ask for what you need, show up." Like, she's been that voice that's broken down so much negative feedback for me, and has helped me in my process of reprogramming, those voices and thoughts that don't belong to me. And so we're mom and dad, because I try to do the same thing.
Y'all balance each other. Y'all support each other. I do love acting, right? Something I'm really inspired by when it comes to acting is I think of this Kathy Bates interview that she did, where she was like, acting is like when you were little and you used to dress up in all these clothes and you said you get to be all these people for a career, right? So I want to know, like, what is your process of getting ready for a role, for like taking a role and understanding the character, understanding like if you should be putting yourself in this character, if like, if this character should be someone different from you. Like, I think a lot about like Heath Ledger, like how he went in full vamp mode to get ready for the Joker. Like, I've been so consumed in that story lately, right? How do you keep yourself safe but active in taking on a new role?
I have no idea.
Mood.
I don't. I really don't.
Maybe you're just natural like that.
No. Well, but that's not what I mean. I guess I mean like specifically guarding oneself when taking on something that might be like darker or just like heavier or whatever. I don't really know how to do that yet, and it's an ongoing process. I think that the real tea is it's process, which means that it's ongoing, and it means that I'm discovering things as I continue on this journey that I'm on right now. I obviously, I have my training and I have the little things that I do, the little shorthand. It's about being curious. It's about asking a lot of questions, asking questions about the questions that you asked and why. It's about observing. It's about taking in life. It's about being a sort of depository for life and for people and energy and thoughts and not being too judgmental. Not being too decided about the world and how it works and how it functions, because the reality that we live in is one of our own design, both individually and collectively. And
facts.
So you know what I'm
facts.
saying?
No.
So
facts.
It helps to
that shit stifling as hell sometimes.
Yeah. And I believe in what I believe in personally, and I'll uphold that in my real life all day and all night long. But
I love how comfortable you are. You look so cute. You look so cute.
Iman said I look cute, y'all.
You look fabulous. Oh!
A little pop.
Damn, I miss you. I'm sorry, pardon me for cutting you off, but I'm like so excited to see you. Like,
No, are you kidding me? You don't need to be sorry for anything. This is gorgeous. This is beautiful.
Right. I don't know when the fuck I started saying sorry again. It's been part of me, but I don't know where the sorry has come from because I used to be professional. You know what I'm saying? I
do, but that doesn't mean you have to apologize.
Yeah.
For your excitement and your enthusiasm. I think that's beautiful. Yeah. I told you your light was pouring through you. And,
I hope you still feel it. I'm really here to support you.
Growing me right now. It's
I'm really
growing me out of my muck and all of that.
We both going through it.
I know.
That's so hot though. But like we're in like a moment of joy.
Yeah.
And I feel very grateful that you trusted me to give you joy. Like, I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. I want to ask you a question. Like, so when it comes to like things like modeling and acting, like, do you have total autonomy of your body? Or like, do you have to like get approval? You know, like if you want to dye your hair or like, you know, let's say you want to get like a little star under your eye.
Right.
Right. Like, is that like, does like industries like model and acting like kind of keep you on limits with your body and yourself?
I think it does, and I think it can, and I also think conversation is around it, evolving.
Okay.
And changing and shifting, just like we're talking about with representation. Different bodies are beginning to be
shown,
represented, and centered in narrative now,
right?
Which I think is beautiful and great. I'll be honest with you; it's something that I struggle with a lot.
Okay.
Body image is something that fucking haunts me really? Because I just want.
You're so hot.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so hot.
I'll take it. But I don't know. There's this standard in my brain for what, you know, attractive looks like on me that I'm constantly striving toward. That, you know, it can be a little bit of a struggle. I will say that. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about it is, funnily enough, with my job now, I've never felt pressure from anyone at my job or anything like that, but I put the pressure on myself, which is why I say I struggle a little bit with it. Body image and appearance. But I try to shift it from aesthetic, and I try to shift it towards my trainer, Emily Hutchins. She has a gym called.
You got a trainer.
I do.
You got a trainer.
I do. She has a gym called On Your Mark Studios. And when I first linked up with her, I tried to drop all the bullshit that I was going through. And I was just like, I just want to feel stronger. Mm-hmm. I just want to feel capable.
Like when you want to feel it mentally and emotionally, it comes to your physicality.
Absolutely. And also, like we do a lot of endurance work. We do a lot of that kind of stuff. Like I just want to feel capable and strong, you know, for when the world ends.
Mood.
I'm not trying to be caught up, bro. I'm not trying to be caught up.
I'm not gonna lie.
Outrun this shit.
All I've been thinking about
fucking aesthetic. I want to be able to be like, wow.
The flowing hair. Honestly, all I've been thinking about is like, what the hell am I gonna do with my cat? Like, is she gonna be in my fucking book bag? Like, what the hell?
Your cat, I guarantee, will take care of itself.
Okay.
Cats are gonna rule the world.
But how are you like supporting yourself, or how can we as a Hoodwives support you?
I don't know. This comes at a time where I feel very overwhelmed with life because my work and my job is very demanding, and life doesn't stop just because it is.
I appreciate you for making time for this.
No, absolutely. No, this is a joy. But I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that there are certain things that I need to do. Like I'm changing apartments and moving, I'm relocating, and that's going to be a really fresh start that I
send some money. That's what y'all do.
I don't need money. I really don't.
Okay.
Send money
well,
to
then
Iman.
send some love.
Period.
Send some money to me.
Okay.
I would take that.
Yeah. Drop your cash out.
Send some love and some support.
Yeah. Just good vibes and higher vibrational energy is all I need.
Can they buy you a drink?
I just need good people. Y'all can always buy me a motherfucker.
Buy Daniel Juice. That is what is needed, and that is what is necessary. But also, when this music comes, when this singing and filmmaking comes, what you working on? What you got going on?
So, I am tentatively beginning to work on. I went home. I'm so embarrassed.
Why?
Because I went home and I got like a box full of stuff, and I found all these old manuscripts and these old books and short stories and stuff that I wrote when I was literally like 14, 15.
And you want to make something from that.
And I want to make something from that.
Do that.
And I'm gonna
some collages.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah,
that's hot. And
I'm so excited because my new space, like, there's a lot of space in there, and I'm really excited to dedicate one room to that work. I've always thought that, like, you know, if I ever take a break from acting in the future, I want to go back to school in a creative writing program, because I think I love stories so much. I love books so much, and I want to contribute to that somehow in some way. I wrote a pilot at the beginning of quarantine. I've written a few pilots now, and they're kind of all on the back burner, but they're there. Maybe I can look at those and revitalize those. And then next summer, I'm going to be starring in a production, essentially a musical. I think one of maybe the first. I have to look this up, that Steppenwolf has done, but it's going to be at Steppenwolf Theater. Terrell Alvin McCraney penned this gorgeous piece called Choir Boy.
Love that.
And I'm going to be starring in that show.
Yes, star.
Next summer, so you'll get to hear me sing.
Yes. So we got a musical coming. We got an exclusive. We got a new musical coming.
Ooh, and I would also like to say, this is the first time that I'm saying this sort of in any kind of public fashion, but I am also very, very happy and very proud to be executive producing two gorgeous short films by my friends Isaac Gomez and Monty Cole. One is called Hold by Monty Cole, and one is called 6 Feet Apart. Monty Cole has directed both pieces, and they are brother films. I like to call them kin films.
Love that.
Because they are simultaneous. In one story, it's very it's queer, and it is, you know, Latina, and it's a border story, and then the other is the story of a young black boy becoming. And I'm executive producing.
Come on, executive producer. Come on. We here at the Real Hoodwives Chicago, we look forward to supporting you. Of course, Princess E Money, always look forward to supporting you in any way that I can. I will always pull up for you, whatever you need.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful for you being
gorgeous.
Here. So
this energy is so pure. I wish y'all could be here.
I really do.
With this one right here, this is sick.
This is
such a blessing.
You're the one. I wish oh my goodness, I can't wait to see you more. We're gonna be co-hosting together, so be on the tune for that.
I can't wait for that.
Please make sure that you follow and support Daniel at Daniel Kyri. Make sure you give me a follow at Loren Like Polo and us at Hoodwives of Shy. We go live every Thursday, 7 p.m. in collaboration with my wonderful, beautiful team at Chicago For Real on Twitch. Thank you to my team, to my fellow Hoodwives, to my wonderful, beautiful hood partner. Yes, Daniel Kyri. You are tuned in for another episode of the Real Hoodwives of Chicago, a real show with hot sauce stories. Yes.
Peace out. Here's that.